Very good day to you. Welcome to Mornings with Ken Rosato. It is Thursday, July 16th, 2026. Taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta. Should we call this a smokecast?
Smokecast. That's a good one. We should, because it gets worse today, Ken, than yesterday. Yesterday was pretty bad when you saw the orange hue that the sun was leaving on the ground, and yet yesterday's forecast smoke was only in the red. Today, watch what happens with this animation. The smoke actually turns much more dense all the way to the right end of the scale where it's purple, and that's what arrives later today after 4 and 5 o'clock. So like yesterday, gets worse toward the end of the day. After 6 o'clock, you see that purple shade come all the way down through all of northern New Jersey, and this is really going to be a problem, especially with yesterday. If you, well, obviously you smelt the smoke yesterday in northern New Jersey, you saw it, but today you'll really begin to feel it, much like what happened about 3 years ago when we had that red sky. You walk outside, your eyes start tearing up, you could, it feels hard to breathe. That later this evening. It's going to be that bad for just a couple of hours, and then it eventually clears out closer to midnight as that smoke works its way south. It's all due to those Canadian wildfires. You see this dark strip of smoke, the density of it, working through upstate New York, and that's what slowly slides down today along the front that gives us the poor air quality through this afternoon. So these numbers, it's more so on the unhealthy side. I know this is the forecast from the data that comes in from the air quality, but I think that it'll be even worse as we head toward later today and those numbers update. In addition to that, it's still hot down in central New Jersey, where right around Trenton and Philly, you have the heat advisory through this evening for the feels like temperatures of 95 to 100 degrees. So very warm weather on tap through the rest of the day. And then even with that, that clouds and radar picture looking quite ominous as all of those smoky particles work their way down south. We finally clear things out by tomorrow into the evening hours as that front settles offshore, and then we welcome in some rain to clear out a lot of that smoke for Saturday. I know the last thing we need is some rain on a weekend, but it's all gone by Sunday, bringing back drier weather as that heat gives way to cooler conditions by the end of the weekend. We'll tell you more about that coming up, Ken, and keep tracking that smoke in just a few minutes.
Plus, I'm hearing rumors there's some kind of a sporting event on Sunday that New Jersey wants to deal with. I don't know. What are they playing, like Tiddlywinks or something?
I hear, well, what is the latest that they're selling tickets for hundreds of thousands of dollars now? Wild.
Yeah, it was for the quarterfinal or semifinals. I think it was 11,000 for the cheapest seat. Now it's like stupid money. That's why
Right.
when people were complaining about who's going to pay $100 for NJ Transit, the same guy who paid $100,000 for the ticket, that's who's going to pay for it. It's
The
not going to be
bargain.
you like I got to get to Midtown. You're not the one who's going to be paying $100 for that. It's Joe Rodriguez from Argentina who would sell his house and his neighbor's house to get the ticket now to go to the game. By the way, did you catch Argentina England?
That was quite the game. And the second half, too. The first half I heard was a snooze fest, but you turned it on for the second half, and wow, that was impressive.
I have a headline for the British tabloids this morning. What
Okay.
a messy.
A messy.
Huh? See what
Ah,
I did
okay.
there? You
It's
like
good.
that? You
It's
like
good.
that's why I'm doing a show in New Jersey. Okay. Uh love you,
It's already
buddy. I'll
tea time
check back.
there.
Yes, exactly. They're already like taking their Xanax. I'll catch you in a little bit. Thank you, sir. 69 degrees. Mike is awesome. 69 degrees northern New Jersey, 73 degrees in Trenton. In Los Angeles right now it is 70. It's warmer than it's been usually at this time because the sun hasn't risen yet. So it's 70 in LA, but remember they had all that heat last week. And it's 70 also in San Diego. In terms of traffic, a couple of things to tell you about. Let's see, incidents. Here we go. All right. So we have right now, sorry, folks, it's just reset on me. Delays on 109 northbound from Ridgefield Circle in Ridgefield to the GWB in Fort Lee. All lanes are open, just kind of some delays there. And we had an issue earlier by Route 46. There are still delays. Our friend Pam, our director, told us about that. So it says there are delays on 46 eastbound from the Turnpike in Ridgefield Park to 109 and Palisades Park. All lanes open, just very slow. And we have problems on the Pulaski Skyway now eastbound from Broadway to Tunley Circle, Jersey City. Again, all lanes open, just heavy at this point. In terms of the Hudson River crossings, we take a look at the 139 from the Turnpike into the Holland Tunnel. Very heavy already. Look at the lanes on the right. That's going to the right tube, and you can see that's going to cost you 25 minutes already getting into Manhattan from there. We don't have the camera for the Lincoln Tunnel. Again, that's out yet. They're doing work there. So hopefully we'll get that camera back soon, but we're told it's 20 to 25 in GWB upper and lower levels. So you can see already a lot of slow traffic. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, when a lot of people are still getting into the city and working. Mondays and Fridays for the summer, a lot of people get out of Dodge. So those days, it tends not to be as trafficy, to use that as an adjective. But this is what you have right now, 25 to 30 into Manhattan. Yes, a lot of trucks. And you know why there are a lot of trucks, Pam? Hmm? What day is tomorrow, Pam? Friday. And tomorrow is the biggest restaurant day of the week for restaurants in Manhattan. So those trucks are supplying the restaurants with food. This is when they come in on Thursdays. So if you think your fish is fresh on Sunday, it's actually coming in on Thursday, just so you know. Yeah, thank God for refrigeration. Over to the West Coast right now. Traffic collision in LA, actually Newhall, and this is on Route 14 at Escondido Canyon Road. We also have a collision, and this one is on the 10 at Hoover in Central LA. And wow, there's another one on the 10 at Grand Avenue, also in Central LA. 6 minutes past the hour, President Trump said that ICE should continue using traffic stops during immigration enforcement operations. His comments followed a temporary nationwide pause after fatal shootings in Maine and Texas. Border Advisor Tom Homan said the suspension would allow officials to review procedures. Trump called traffic stops one of ICE's most effective crime-fighting tools. Let's just give you an idea. When you are stopped by an agent and you flee, why are you fleeing? Chances are because you know the agent will catch you in some nefarious way. Not always. And I could hear the lawyers right now saying, does indicate guilt, Rosato. You're right, it does not. But if you have nothing to hide, you will stop and let an officer of the law, whether they be federal, state, local, whatever, question you and show your license. No, this isn't Gestapo Germany. This is traffic stops. We've had this for 250 years, since we've had horse and buggy. You get stopped by an official if there was an issue. And if there is probable cause to stop you, and the officer will tell you that later, the officer has a right to ask you your identification at that point, and you have an obligation to provide it. It's in both of these cases, the shootings occurred because either on body cam or not, people fled or resisted arrest. Don't resist arrest and don't flee. It's pretty simple. So the recent shootings involving people who were not intended targets, but yet may have looked like intended targets. I've gotten stopped twice. I've gotten stopped twice. I was in a suit. Okay. So I've gotten stopped twice. You stop, you answer questions, you give them your license, you move along. They're trying to do their jobs to protect your ass. So somebody may look like or drive a car that matches the description of somebody who committed a crime or may be here illegally. That's why they're stopping your car. No, they're not stopping every brown-skinned person. By the way, I count as a brown-skinned person. All right, from the Argentinian side and the tone of my skin. You stop. That's it. You do what the officer says. Critics are saying we need broader changes. Yeah, you need broader changes until they stop doing these enforcements and everybody gets away with committing crimes and then you get injured or your family member gets injured, God forbid. No, it works. You just have to stop telling people that ICE agents aren't police officers, so they will in fact obey them when they get stopped by them, members of the left. 9 minutes past the hour, Iran threatened additional regional trade routes as the United States launched fresh military strikes, and a lot of them. Iran said the Strait of Hormuz would remain closed till American attacks ended. We're saying no, it's open. In fact, lots of ships are coming through, so the Strait of Hormuz is not closed. U.S. forces targeted Iranian coastal defenses and missile facilities during new operations. Renewed fighting has disrupted tanker traffic a little bit and contributed to sharply rising oil prices. Okay, whoever wrote this is full of crap. Oil prices are not sharply risen at all. The oil prices are actually fairly low. They're $78 to $80 a barrel. So however they gotten written by AI or whatever, it's wrong. So oil prices are not sharply, or at least they're not sharply risen here in the U.S. President Trump also threatened future strikes against Iranian bridges and energy infrastructure. Iran separately reported attacks targeting American interests in Jordan, Kuwait, and Bahrain. In other words, Iran just fired haphazardly into whatever neighboring country they had, and whatever it hits, it hits. That's what they did because they don't have the capability of honing in with what they have left in terms of their military. And President Trump already issued a warning yesterday that if they don't get back on track with the agreement that we reached, that we will now start targeting their power plant, their power grid, their energy throughout the country, their water systems, and that would bring the country to its knees. He doesn't want to impact the citizenry of Iran, but at this point, we may have no choice. The House passed legislation that would make daylight saving time permanent nationwide. The Sunshine Protection Act passed Tuesday with a bipartisan 308 to 117 vote. The measure would eliminate the twice yearly practice of changing clocks, in the fall and the spring. Supporters argue that clock changes unnecessarily disrupt schedules and create additional costs. And critics say permanent daylight saving time would create darker winter mornings. That's why we invented something called the light. Crazy how that works. See, the whole idea of daylight saving that came about when we had candles still. It did. We have electric lights now. Yeah, antiquated. The legislation now faces an uncertain future in the Senate, and who knows where the Senate has been. They're all over the place. Excuse me as I take a sip of my magical coffee. Why is it magical coffee? Because it has caffeine and I need it. A Pew survey suggests China is now viewed more favorably than America globally. Bullshit. China received higher favorability ratings in 25 of the 36 countries surveyed. Yeah, until the communists come and take them over and their leaders are marched out and shot in the head in the street. Positive views of China reached record highs in several countries, including Italy and Mexico. By the way, if you go to Italy, one of the largest populations outside of native-born Italians right now, especially in the north, Chinese. Yeah. Started out as business people coming over to do business. Before you know it, you go to Florence, you will see Chinese people everywhere. Now, actually, they are very much Italians. They are born in Italy, although they don't have birthright citizenship there. But many of them have gotten their European citizenship. Confidence remained low in both Xi Jinping and President Trump, although Xi scored higher, it says. I'd love to know who conducted the survey and what the questions were. Respondents generally viewed China as less likely to interfere in other countries' affairs. It's likely, which is why they are all over South America right now and all over Central America and why they are in all of Europe. They're less likely to meddle in other people's affairs. Researchers surveyed more than 42,000 people across 36 countries between February and May. Again, let me see the questions that were asked. A boat carrying 20 adults capsized near Alcatraz Island during a memorial service. One person died, 3 remain missing, and a dog also died. 13 people safely rescued while 3 others were hospitalized and stable. Officials said that rough waters and a possible wave may have caused the accident. Boats, divers, and helicopters joined an extensive search for the missing passengers, and authorities said rescue efforts would continue as long as conditions remain safe. 13 minutes passed, and a Canadian woman arrested after allegedly slapping a teenager on a Jersey Shore boardwalk. Police say the teen was wearing clothing displaying words Trump and ICE. Caitlin Tracy faces charges including child endangerment, simple assault, harassment, and obstruction. Yeah, you cannot hit a minor. You can't hit anybody. You don't walk up to somebody and hit them. I don't care what their T-shirt says. If their T-shirt says F Trump and F ICE, you do not touch them. You do not verbally assault them. They have freedom of speech in this country. You may disagree with them. You may give them a dirty look, but you don't touch them. Authorities said surveillance video captured the alleged July 3rd incident in Point Pleasant Beach. Tracy's husband says she was later transferred into U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement custody, ironically, ICE. The people whom she doesn't like because she's Canadian, ICE, ended up arresting her. Court records indicate that she's scheduled to appear in court August 4th. Irony. It is 14 minutes past the hour right now. And New Jersey residents are being urged to take extra precautions. We were talking about this before. You look outside yesterday, it was yellowy orange. You could smell what smelled like a neighbor burning a fire in the yard or a fireplace burning. Wildfire smoke created potentially dangerous conditions all over the northern U.S., literally across the north. With the heat indices expected to climb above 100 degrees, health experts say older adults, young children, pregnant people, outdoor pregnant women. So you know that AI had a hand in that, pregnant people. People don't get pregnant. Women get pregnant. Sorry, AI. This is coming from a gay guy. Let's teach AI now. Only women born with ovaries can get pregnant. All right, make sure we're all in agreement. Yes, do I hear an amen? Pam, do I hear an amen? And with penises cannot get pregnant. So stop the bullshit and stop saying pregnant people, pregnant women. Thank you. Yeah. Residents should stay hydrated, limit strenuous outdoor activity, take frequent breaks, and spend time in air conditioned spaces when possible. Symptoms including heavy sweating, dizziness, nausea, and confusion can signal a serious heat related illness. Wildfire smoke from Canada. It's Canada again. By the way, Canada and their very liberal environmental folks refuse to clear dead brush and chop down trees that are old and large, etc. And this happens. Lightning hits a tree and you get a massive wildfire. You ever wonder why we don't have massive wildfires all over the US, in many parts of the US? Because now we are enforcing, once again, clearing dead brush. Canada ain't doing it. So let's see if the libs and the cheapos in Canada will spend some money and clear their dead brush and start clearing away the trees that are jammed next to each other, because it's not healthier for the trees to grow like that. They can't grow healthfully, and it isn't healthy for the animals either. So let's clear your forest a little bit, Canad, as it's pronounced in French, Canad. Health officials recommend checking the air quality index before you head outdoors, especially if you have asthma, heart, or lung conditions. Right now, it is not good, especially older people, etc. If you have to do any outdoor work, if you're a construction worker, you should try to wear a mask of some sort, like an N95. Yes, an N95 works in this case because particulate matter can get trapped by an N95. Viruses, for the most part, 5% of viruses pass through. See, it's called an N95 because it takes 95%. It filters 95% of particulate matter down to 0.003 microbes. Microns, excuse me. But that means that viruses can still pass, which is why even the N95 didn't give you 100% protection against COVID. But against smoke, yes. All right, it is 17 minutes past the hour. When we return, e-bikes and e-scooters have become a popular way to get around, but a growing number of serious and sometimes deadly crashes are raising new concerns about safety. We'll talk about it in 2 minutes. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato for your Thursday live in New Jersey and New York. Now we welcome Los Angeles and our good friends in Florida as well. It is 20 minutes past the hour. Taking calls at 888-658-0234. Let us know what the smoke from the wildfires has been like near you and how you're dealing with it. I don't know. I got a little headache. Let's bring in Mike. We'll talk about it. Yesterday I started getting like a little dull headache. I
Mm,
noticed that my shirt inside the house, I took my shirt off to put it in the wash and I could smell smoke on the shirt.
yeah.
That's an intense amount of particulate matter when you could smell it on your clothing.
Yeah, it is, and it gets worse today. Kind of gets stuck in your nose and sinuses too.
Mm.
With more wildfire smoke on the way for today. Ken, yesterday I think was more like a preview, whereas today is the main event because not only did the smoke linger throughout the overnight, it starts off rather thick this morning and continues, only getting a higher in concentration through the day today. This is tomorrow at 2 p.m., and look how that smoke will keep on pouring in from the north and west and lowering to the ground as that front tries to dig its way down and push its way southward. It's all along the upper level jet stream, which is pushing that smoke closer to New Jersey. And then because of that high pressure, the sinking air higher in the sky pushes it closer to the ground. And that's what's going to give us our very poor air quality throughout the day today into tomorrow. So even though there's a few passing clouds around today, we're not going to see a whole lot of sunshine this afternoon, thanks to that smoke that will keep on moving in. There's the high pressure that you'd think would clear it out, but no, in fact, it just concentrates a little more closer to the ground tomorrow, lasting through tomorrow afternoon. So it's kind of the opposite scenario of what we're looking for to see the clearing take over. I have to have a little bit of a wind shift, and that comes in the form of a front on Saturday, which brings in some wet weather, but also brings in a little bit more of a drier feel. Now, the only problem for Sunday is that the wind comes back from the north and west, so there may be some impacts for the game on Sunday, and of course, the tens of thousands of spectators over in East Rutherford out in the elements watching the game, and all those that are at watch parties, because even though the forecast is clear on Sunday, we may have another round of smoke return by Sunday afternoon. We won't really know until tomorrow later in the day because those smoke forecasts only go out 48 hours. And if you think that smoke exploded in size and the fires exploded in size, promoting a lot of smoke just yesterday and the day before, there really isn't much lead time for these smoke forecasts. So looking ahead into the rain part of the weather, yes, it's a very wet day on Saturday. I think Sunday starts to clear out, and when that gets going, the clear sky should take over nicely. Monday, I hope the smoke will be done by then, and then into Tuesday and Wednesday of next week could see a midweek shower before clearing once more for Wednesday. But at least there's no long-term heat. A lot of that hot weather wraps up today, and we look forward to a cooler weekend, even though there's some rain on the way on Saturday, Ken.
All right. Could you hang out with me for a second because our guest didn't show up, and there's a lot we could talk about. So, first
Yeah.
of all, here's just a this is an aside. Would you satisfy my aside? If you had a big, luxurious cup of coffee and a
Mm-hmm.
little tiny flea got into the top of the cup of coffee, but you were able to fling it out, would you still drink the burning hot cup of coffee?
Yeah.
And
If it's
and scream
7:23
no.
in the morning, yes.
Right. Right. Okay. So I have now gotten my additional protein and I'm sipping my coffee. And if I start growing wings, to hell with it. That's it. Okay. Just want to make sure that's number one. That was a very important aside. In terms of how long does it take for the wildfire smoke to move away? And in this case, do we hope for a lot of rain? Because will the rain help clear the atmosphere?
So the rain will help clear the atmosphere, but more so a wind shift. The wind is what helps to blow this all out. And we won't see that until later tomorrow night into Saturday. So we're stuck with this smoke again. Even tomorrow, what was supposed to be another beautiful sunny day like today, even though it won't necessarily be as hot and humid, it's still really smoky and that air quality stinks going into tomorrow.
And I say to our friends, say to oh, there we go. Look at the picture of the sun. That's insane.
Yeah.
I say to our friends to the north who are fair weather friends in Canada, and they are fair weather friends, our socialist friends up there. I say to our friends up north, how come you never have to deal with American smoke blowing north? Just wondering. Why is that, Mike?
It's well, It's kind of the way the weather patterns go. A lot of our winds come from the north and west, at least up here. Now, there are certain areas in the country, like out in the Midwest, where there is enough vegetation and it's dry enough that there are wildfires there. Texas had wildfires not too long ago.
Mm.
Arkansas had wildfires not too long ago. And those winds blow their way, in a different direction, not necessarily toward Canada, but other parts of the U.S.
And the folks in Chihuahua, Mexico, saying, "Why the hell are you giving me all this smoke from Texas?" That's it. They don't quite have that accent though. Sounds a little different, but it would sound like I'm misappropriating the accent if I tried, even though I speak Spanish and you do too. All right, interesting. The other thing too is you have not given us an update of pictures with your two little babies. We have not seen, but so that is our charge to you, sir. You have a whole
Oh, is
weekend to
it?
do it.
All
Yeah,
right.
that is our charge. You have a whole
I'll work
weekend,
on
but
that.
I think we need to see pictures. And by the way, I think we need to see the dog too. So that's a lot. We put a lot on your plate. I know it's a lot, but we need to see two babies and a dog. Otherwise, we're going to think the whole thing's a lie.
Can you tell by the bags under my eyes? It is not a lie.
Poor Mike gets the second he gets one of the three little males in the house, being his two boys and his dog, quiet, then the next one makes noise. Although Nino does not really. Oh no, Enzo. Which one does it? The quiet one is
The
Enzo.
quiet one is Enzo, the newborn. Yeah, the angel baby. Doesn't fuss, doesn't stir. It's incredible.
Poor Nino is going to grow up with such a complex. Daddy calls my brother an angel baby, and he calls me little Satan. And why? Why? You got two beautiful children there, and they are each unique and perfect in their own way. I was the angel baby. I was the number two.
Hmm.
Of course, my mother may have something else to say at this point, but that's another story. Mike, we will check back, sir. I appreciate you as always, and
You
thank
bet.
you for putting up with my nonsense. Appreciate it. All right, it is 27 minutes past the hour right now, and we have a good friend who will be on the show in just a moment, who is probably one of the most authoritative voices in journalism in the state of New Jersey. Probably, you know what? Let's just give it to him because he deserves that title from his decades of working literally in every major journalistic outlet in the state of New Jersey. He knows sports as much as he knows business and news. So our friend Tom Bergeron, the founder and editor and owner of binge.com, is going to be here to talk about the controversial data center in Nutley and Clifton and a doggy daycare. Stepped it up a bit to help keep dogs safe. You're watching Mornings. We're coming back in 2 minutes. Very good morning. 30 minutes past the hour, Thursday, July 16th, 2026. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, live on the East Coast. And hello, California, our good friends on the West Coast. Now, meteorologist Mike Favetta has the forecast near you. Mike, I borrowed from a meteorologist who used to work on Channel 9 years ago. Do you remember that individual?
Lindsay Lloyd
Lloyd
something.
Lindsay? Very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Lloyd Lindsay. I actually asked you, put you on the spot because I forgot his name for a second. Mm. So, but Lloyd Lindsay Young, whom I eventually got to meet, he went to work at KGO San Francisco. He might even still be there. He went out with
Maybe.
Spencer Christian and worked at
I think he
KGO.
might
And
because I Googled him not too long ago, and yeah, he popped up out there. Hmm.
nice man. I got
Yeah.
to meet him. In fact, we went out to lunch when I was out there. I almost did the morning show out at KGO, and we all went out to lunch. Spencer and Lloyd, and I was here. I'm fanning, watching this guy I used to see on TV when I was in high school, and he couldn't have been nicer. So smart, man. Oh man, you meteorologists, you know your stuff. All right, let me get out of the way here. I know you got a lot going on. We got
Or
we
at
got
least we pretend
wildfires,
to.
we got heat. Yeah,
We pretend to most
yeah.
of the time.
No, as I think our dear friend Bill Evans used to say that a meteorologist is like the professor from Gilligan's Island. We know a little about a lot of things, but we don't know a lot about anything. It's one of his Billisms.
That's a good
Anyway,
Billism.
I'll go now. I'll see you later.
Okay. We've obviously have another round of wildfire smoke today. You look outside, you could see the gray sky. It's almost like something's not right with the weather. Well, that'll be the case again today, even though the clouds stay to our north. It's that smoke that remains thick across New Jersey skies. Out west, you see that's where all the rain is, and allowing for another clear day on the west coast. So taking a check at California's weather, we keep it clear right down to the coast and beyond, even with a little bit of wet weather moving in by the end of the week into tomorrow and Saturday. It should start to clear out once more with the dry weather forecast into Sunday and Monday. So our forecast remains smoky throughout this afternoon. That impacts temperatures, and that also really impacts air quality because, like I mentioned before, yesterday was just a taste of what's to come. The smoke really thickens up this afternoon and evening to pretty hazardous levels. We'll talk more about that with another check of your New Jersey forecast in just a few.
All right, Mike, much appreciated, sir. We have some issues in traffic. Oh, we should let you know, too, by the way. 70 degrees now, northern New Jersey, 73 degrees in Trenton. A lot of little traffic issues. No major accidents or incidents, but we do have a lot of congestion. Let's have Pam bring us up on the Garden State Parkway if we can. Right now, the GSP at in the vicinity, this is exit 148. Oh, of course, the second. Why is it, Pam, that when we pull up the camera shot 30 seconds earlier, it is stopped? And then we take it on the air, and it looks like everything's just fine. But that the traffic going away from us, going toward the upper left of the screen, that was stopped literally 30 seconds ago. So maybe that's cleared up, but that's in the vicinity of 148 in the Garden State Parkway. You're looking at both directions, north and south. In terms of other issues that we have a little construction going on to warn you about. This is on I-80 in the vicinity of exit 12, which is Hope Blairstown Road in Blairstown Township. Right shoulder is closed until this afternoon. Route 47, there's construction going on by Blackwood Road in Washington Township. In that vicinity, right shoulder is also closed. And there is construction on 295 southbound between exit 45 and exit 40. So that's 5 miles of slowdowns you're going to have through that vicinity. Just beware of that. Your Hudson River crossings, the approach to the Holland Tunnel right now, Route 139 coming off the Turnpike into the tubes, very heavy. As you can see, those the middle lanes there pretty much stopped. That's going to cost you a solid 40 minutes into Manhattan. Lincoln Tunnel camera is out, but we can tell you right now that they're telling us 35 minutes into the city, and the GWB upper and lower levels already pretty heavy on the 8095 approach. You can see pretty much not moving, and that's already up to 45 minutes, unusual for this time of the day. To LA, we just have a couple of incidents to tell you about. Traffic collision, and that's in South LA at the 110 and Redondo Beach Boulevard off ramp, and we have a missing elderly person on Broadway in LA. The name is Carrie Sanders. If you happen to see an individual elderly on their own, it's only 4:34 in the morning. Just call police. Don't approach them. Don't scare them. The best way to deal with that. Okay. It is 34 minutes past the hour. From a controversial data center proposal in North Jersey to a doggy daycare that has stepped up during a dangerous heat wave. Tom Bergeron is covering two very different stories about business and community in the Garden State. He joins us this morning. He is the founder, owner, editor of binge.com, BINJE.com, business in New Jersey every day, with a closer look at the debate surrounding a potential data center at the On3 campus in Nutley and Clifton. We should let everyone know we're called On New Jersey because we're based at the On3 Center. So full disclosure, just so that not that that's influencing the story. We don't care about I mean, we that doesn't influence our opinion on the data center one way or the other, but we just want to make that clear. So good morning to you, Tom. Good to have you on.
So I got to start with you missed the big Lloyd Lindsay Young anecdote. So I remember watching him as a kid, and it was a play off the Thomas Dolby sign. Whenever he would be in front of the map and they had to switch the picture, he would yell out "science," click the thing, and it would go to the 5-day forecast for the East Coast. And that was his bit. He would just yell "science, science," and people would see him in the streets and they'd yell "science." So one day, forgive me, Pam, they got some new producer at the show who said, "Oh, this is minor league. We want to be more professional. You're not allowed to do that anymore." So he stopped doing it, and all of the viewers complained. I mean, they loved it, so they brought it back. It was a viewer uprising against the back end terminal. But when I think of Lloyd Lindsay Young, I just think of someone yelling "science" at the TV.
You know, I always thought there was something wrong with his eyes because he always used to like blink in the. When I met him, I actually saw he is actually light sensitive. So but yet he took a career. Now today our lights are not quite as bright as they used to be, but he took a career where back then you had like theater spotlights on your face, and yet he went out and did his shtick. He was masterful. He was so good at it. Anyway, I bow to you, sir. So we have the potential of a data center coming right to the middle of North Jersey, right on Route 3. And I know, I mean, people complain, and rightfully so, because of the amount of electricity these things suck up. Although in this case, I believe it's going to be self-generating, right? Don't they have their own generators there to at least help?
The biggest thing about this is the line from Gene Diaz, who's the partner, the principal at Prism Capital Partners, who oversees the development of On3, is not all data centers are the same. So there's your shot right there. So you have the beautiful On3 campus where you guys are. You see it. It's masterful. There's a number of huge buildings. There's the Eastside building where you guys are. There's a Hackensack School of Medicine. It is a wonderful thing. Gene and his team have come in and taken the old Roche settlement, the old Roche building when they moved, and brought in ratables, brought in businesses. It's still growing. It's doing great. Now, there's a small parcel that came with the property across the street in the back. You can't see it from these glorious pictures. And it used to be an old warehouse that Roche had. It was a pharmaceutical company. They had a warehouse. So there it is. So Gene and the team come in and they say, "Okay, we're going to build you a modern warehouse. We'll do that." The town goes nuts. "Oh, it's going to be trucks. We don't want trucks. You can't build a warehouse there." So according to Gene, he says, "Okay, we'll do a multifamily housing." Town says, "Oh, too many kids through our school." "Okay, we'll do senior housing. We'll do this. We'll do that." The town balked at every possible use for this. So as you can imagine, there's litigation. In the settlement, the town said, "Well, why don't you just build a data center there?" And he said, "Fine, we'll build a data center." That sign you see has been up for 9 months since last year. And then all of a sudden there's a planning board meeting where these residents come out and they say, "This is going to kill the town," and da, 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 da. Okay, it gets better. As Gene points out, this data center is tiny compared to these huge ones. It's the same type of data centers we have all over North Jersey. It's 250,000 square feet, not a million. The use of energy, it isn't going to affect the town at all. People need to learn that if you put a data center in Nutley or you put a data center in Newtown, Pennsylvania, it impacts your bill just the same as far as PGM generation. It's not going to take up too much water. The site, compared to what Roche did, is way down. So when you get the facts and figures, it's no big deal. And when you talk to Gene, he says he's indifferent. He doesn't have to build a data center there. That's what they told him to build. He's like, "I'm happy to build another warehouse. Much easier. I'm happy to build multifamily. You just can't tell me that I own this piece of dirt and I can't use it. You just can't do that." So it came out last week at a meeting. I got him on the phone. He was great. The story is out this morning on binge.com. It's another energy story for the readers.
And by the way, I know that they have their own generator right on the land, right? And that generator is going to help offset much of the the public electricity use anyway, and it's going to power most of that area. I don't know if it's going to the data center, but I know it's going to power the development of
Right.
all the
Right.
townhouses and all, right? So this is a net win for the town, 100%. But you get the townies who get elected, who, like, yesterday the guy was like cleaning your lawn, and today he's elected as a councilman, and suddenly he knows best without ever having done any research. So no, we're
Well,
not
let's
going
not
to
pick on
allow
the
this.
council. It's more of just a concerned citizen who can come in and slap an appeal, and it just holds up development. And Gene says, this is what's killing New Jersey. You can't just stop development for no apparent reason. If there's a reason, we'll do it, but you can't just say, I don't like this, I don't want this. He goes, this is why it's so hard to build here. On3 has been a huge win for Nutley and Clifton. It's a bizarre situation, as you know, that the campus borders 2 towns and 2 counties. So having to deal with that has been a challenge. But now it's like, what do you want me to put here? Do you want me to put a warehouse? I'm happy to put a warehouse. I just get to put something there. I own the land. You can't tell me I can't use it. We started litigation. We've settled it. This is ridiculous. So it's an energy story gone wrong.
And if you want to know why everybody's going to Texas, there you go. That's the reason. And the same people who want progressive and want growth and future, it becomes NIMBYism, and it's just silliness. It's like there is a time for NIMBYism, but this isn't it. This is the best solution for this.
This is not
if we had a bunch of
zombie
these. Go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say,
if we had a bunch of
these
if we had a bunch of these instead of one big, a million square foot location, it would be a lot better for everybody in North Jersey. Now I defer and be quiet because I know you want to talk about doggy daycare too.
No, I was going to say we have another energy story that's fun. I'm going to look at my notes, the dog stop in Long Hill. Just another one of those doggy daycare centers. Rob Lax and Dave Weinberg started it about a year ago. They bought a franchise. They come in, they take care of the dogs. It's been crazy. They've had a great time. They do a great thing. 4th of July's coming. They're like, you know what? We're going to look at that. We're going to take one day off. For the 4th of July, we're not going to have any doggy daycare. We have the boarding, this and that, but we're going to take one day off. So when you know it, on July 3rd, the night, all the area loses power. It's one of those 100-degree days like we're having today. They get their power back at midnight. And the next morning, the phones are ringing off the hook. Nobody has power. It's 100 degrees. It's 110 with the humidity. And people said, are you open? And he said it took like 30 seconds to say, come on in. So they were going to be closed on the 4th of July. Normally on a weekend, they're open from 10 to 4. They opened the facility from 7 to 7. They didn't charge extra. If you were hot, if your dog was hot, come on in, bring them in. We want to serve the community. We want to serve dogs. Rob has trained numerous, 24 for the CNI. They just love dogs. And in a time of a heat energy crisis, they had power. Their customers didn't. They opened the door and said, come on in. It was just a real nice feel-good story for the holidays.
See, those are the good folks of New Jersey who deserve everybody's business now. They did the right thing. They stepped it up. So everybody patronize good people like that, because that's who you want being in business in North Jersey. What do you got coming up this week, sir?
Well, we got a little thing called the World Cup final on Sunday. That'll be interesting. And it's funny, I'm waiting to see the story. We keep talking about the weather with all of the smog and the Canadian wildfires. Well, Spain arrived last night. I know that. They're staying in Montclair. They're supposed to be practicing today at the Red Bulls training facility in Morris Township. It's 100 degrees with bad air. I don't know how you practice for the World Cup in this weather. So that'll be interesting. And then on Sunday, right now, they're kind of calling for rain. So God forbid you're one of those people that paid $15,000 to go to the World Cup, sitting in the rain at MetLife Stadium. It'll be a good time will be had by all, I'm sure.
It's going to be interesting because the folks, my family's part Argentinian. And so Argentinians believe that they speak Spanish more properly than Spaniards do. And so it's going to be interesting to hear the conversations between the teammates. Although not everybody from either team is from those countries, but at least they speak some form of Spanish each. It'll be interesting. We love when you come on, sir. Business in New Jersey every day. Binge.com, BINJE.com. Please check out the site. You will go down a rabbit hole because the man is an incredible talent and knows New Jersey like nobody's business. Founder, owner, and editor Tom Bergeron, we always appreciate you, sir. Have a great day.
My pleasure. Be well.
You too. It is 44 minutes past the hour. Coming up, meteorologist Mike Favetta's full forecast with all the wildfire smoke and the heat. We're coming right back. Welcome back to Mornings with Ken Rosato, 47 minutes past the hour, taking calls at 888-658-0234. How are things by you with the smoke, the wildfire smoke? Is it impacting your health? Do you have a headache? Do you have breathing issues? I found myself, and it could be psychosomatic, but I found myself, as I was moving around yesterday and this morning, trying to kind of catch my breath. I caught a deep breath because I was feeling like, when you have a yawn and you can't quite maximize the oxygen intake in your yawn, and so you need another yawn to try to do that. That's sort of what it felt like. And that, again, could be totally psychosomatic or could be directly connected. I know somebody who might know the answer. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the forecast for your city. And those folks in Southern California are saying, what the hell are they talking about in New Jersey wildfire smoke?
Hmm. Yeah. No,
Because
it's
they
really
don't
bad,
know what that's
especially
like.
well, for those who are sensitive, the very young, the very old, this is a problem. And this is the weather that makes you change plans, even though there's no severe threat. It's the air quality, just breathing heavily or exercising, like Tom mentioned, at the facility there in East Hanover, trying to catch a deep breath at the Red Bull practice field. Yeah, it's pretty rough, considering just how bad the air quality is thanks to those wildfires. The fires are still burning pretty hard, and you can see where that smoke is coming from there in western Ottawa, working its way south and eastward, moving in through the northeast throughout today. Do we get a clearing? Maybe a little bit by Saturday with a wind shift, but that will only bring in some rain. Yes, the rain helps to clear out the air a little bit, and then by Sunday, we have that same wind direction blowing back in. So it'll all depend if the fires are still burning that intensely throughout the second half of the weekend, because we may have another round of smoke. Even though the forecast is dry over in East Rutherford on Sunday afternoon, there's the potential for some pretty poor air quality still. After that front pushes through, we get this little weak system that moves on by, and then another round of high pressure takes over on tomorrow into tomorrow evening before the wind switches up, changes direction, gives us some rainfall And then there's our wind direction again, coming from the north and west throughout the day on Sunday into Monday. Long range beyond that, we have a cooler than average trend that'll take over for the second half of the month. That's that shade of blue. And then that little light shade of minty green points to slightly higher than average rainfall through the end of the month as well. We've had a pretty impressive improvement to our drought situation. We'll zoom in on New Jersey coming up and give you more details on the smoke, Ken, and the current air quality across New Jersey. It is poor right now. All those details in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we had a little rain overnight or early this morning where I am, and I thought that for sure that would help clear things up. No, it looks just as hazy out right now
Yeah.
as it did yesterday, if not worse. So I guess that particulate matter said, "I laugh on you. You may rain all you'd like." I don't know if you know that that's what smoke, wildfire smoke, sounds like. It has that sound, but no, that little tidbit. You can see what you learn on the show. Do you see what you learn on this show?
So much.
Yeah, everybody thought the wildfire smoke had sort of like a German accent. Nope, nope, it has that accent. Okay. I need my Xanax. Thank you, Mike. Have a wonderful one, and we'll catch you in a little bit. It is 69 degrees right now in northern New Jersey, 73 degrees in Trenton. Los Angeles, it is 70 degrees. San Diego, it is 71. And in Fort Lauderdale, it is 79 and humid right now. In terms of traffic, we have a crash on 195 eastbound west of exit 8, which is Route 539 in Robbinsville. All lanes are open, just a little slowdown through there. In the Garden State Parkway, there's debris. Northbound south of exit 50, which is Route 9 in Bass River Township, 2 left lanes blocked, although it's not shown up on the camera. So maybe people are able to get through that just fine. We have the Hudson River crossings right now. The Lincoln Tunnel is going to cost you about 25 in. The Holland Tunnel is 30. We take a look at Route 139. Making your way from the Turnpike. Wow, look at that traffic in the middle. The Turnpike into the Tube, and that is just not moving at all. So they're saying 30 to 35. I bet you it's a little longer. And we go over to GWB. That was also not moving, which for Thursday morning at this time is not good. And this is the 80-95 approach, just jammed, as you can see. Upper level is on the right, lower on the left. It's now 45 minutes solid into Manhattan. Over to Los Angeles, we have a report of a fire, Santa Fe Springs at the 605 and Alondra Boulevard. A collision that just happened, Santa Fe Springs, Telegraph Road and Sears Avenue. And we have a collision in South LA at the 110, pardon me, and Redondo Beach Boulevard off-ramp. President Trump said that ICE should continue using traffic stops during immigration enforcement operations. His comments followed a temporary nationwide pause after fatal shootings in Maine and Texas. Border Advisor Tom Homan said the suspension would allow officials to review their procedures. The president called traffic stops one of ICE's most effective crime-fighting tools. Recent shootings involving people who were not the intended targets have sparked protests and investigations, and critics argue that broader changes are needed to address concerns about ICE enforcement tactics, although ICE insists they are trained the same as any other local officer when it comes to their road stops. Iran threatened additional regional trade routes as the United States launched fresh military strikes. Iran said the Strait of Hormuz would remain closed until American attacks ended. America and other nations in the region insist the Strait of Hormuz is open and ships are getting by. U.S. forces targeted Iranian coastal defenses and missile facilities during new operations. Renewed fighting has disrupted tanker traffic a little bit and continued to sharply cause oil prices to rise in that part of the Middle East, although oil prices around the world have been relatively stable and low. President Trump threatened future strikes against Iranian bridges and energy infrastructure coming up next week if they don't adhere to the agreement, the Memorandum of Understanding. Iran separately reported attacking various targets in Jordan, Kuwait, and Bahrain. That all happening in the last 48 hours. 53 minutes past the hour, and the House passed legislation that would make daylight saving time permanent nationwide. The Sunshine Protection Act passed on Tuesday with a bipartisan 308 to 117 vote. The measure would eliminate the twice-yearly practice of changing clocks. Supporters argue clock changes unnecessarily disrupt schedules and create additional costs. There were all sorts of studies over the last few years that having to get up suddenly an hour earlier or an hour later actually can impact your blood pressure, your mood for weeks. So it'd be interesting to see what happens now. We'll find some excuse for our bad mood. Critics warn permanent daylight saving time would create darker winter mornings, but that's why we have headlights on our cars, folks. The legislation now faces an uncertain future in the Senate. We should know in the next few weeks. And a Pew survey suggests that China, their popularity is growing quite a bit versus America on the global stage. Apparently, a number of countries, people in different countries who were surveyed, say that they feel that China would be less likely to meddle in their country's affairs than the U.S. All right, how's that working out? Think about Japan. Just open up a history book and read how China interfered with Japan. Ask the people of Taiwan how China interferes with them. Ask the people of Hong Kong, which used to be free under Britain and is now under Chinese control. Ask them if China let you do your own thing. Be interesting to see. 55 minutes past the hour, a boat carrying 20 adults capsized near Alcatraz Island during a memorial service. One person died, 3 remain missing. A dog also died. 13 people were safely rescued, while 3 others were hospitalized in stable condition. Officials said rough waters and a possible wave, maybe a rogue wave, may have caused the accident. Boats, divers, and helicopters joined an extensive search for the missing passengers. Authorities said that rescue efforts would continue as long as conditions there remain safe to do so. And get this, a Canadian woman was arrested after allegedly slapping a teenager on the boardwalk down the Jersey Shore. The teen was wearing clothing displaying the words Trump and ICE, I guess in a positive way. Caitlin Tracy faces charges including child endangerment, simple assault, harassment, and obstruction. Authorities said that surveillance video captured the alleged incident from July 3rd in Point Pleasant Beach. Tracy's husband said that she was later transferred into, guess whose custody? ICE. So sorry to laugh, she's a Canadian citizen. She slaps an American where we have freedom of speech. Canada's freedom of speech, they don't have it quite like we do. So for them, you say something that they find offensive, they could have you arrested in many cases, believe it or not. We don't do that here. We have freedom of speech. Freedom of speech means freedom of speech, unless it induces harm. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. And you can't approach somebody and hit them. You can't do that. That's called assault. And you especially can't do that on a minor. That is assault of a minor. They get you in big trouble. So the irony is, I guess the teenager was wearing a pro-Trump and pro-ICE shirt. And this Canadian woman is now in the custody of ICE. Court records indicate she needs to appear in court August 4th. We had a nice vacation, though. Jersey Shore is nice. And New Jersey residents are being urged to take extra precautions as extreme heat and wildfire smoke create potentially dangerous conditions, with the heat index expected to rise above 100 degrees. Health experts say older adults and young children, pregnant women, and outdoor workers, those with chronic health conditions, all face the greatest risk of heat-related illness. Residents should stay hydrated, limit strenuous outdoor activity, take a lot of breaks, and spend time indoors in air-conditioned space. If you have any symptoms like heavy sweating, dizziness, extensive coughing, nausea, confusion, that can all signal serious heat-related illnesses. That wildfire smoke coming from that woman's country, Canada. It's also quickly reducing air quality all across the northern U.S., especially our area. Health officials say keep checking the air quality index, which you can get on our site and online, before you head outdoors to make sure that you don't get into any trouble, especially if you have to do any kind of work outdoors. You might want to wear a mask. An N95 mask will help absorb a lot of the particulate matter, which you do not want to get in your lungs. Yes, you can cough it out later, but you don't want all that particulate matter. It's like smoking a pack of cigarettes. There's no need to do that. And if you could put off doing some outdoor activity for a day or two, that's the best idea. 58 minutes past the hour. For those of you watching on LACA on the West Coast, stay tuned for your local news. If you're watching on New Jersey, we will be back live with New Jersey news, opinion, weather, and traffic. Thanks for watching Mornings. Very good morning. It's 8:01, Thursday, July 16th, 2026. Welcome to On New Jersey Mornings. Ken Rosato here, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Partly cloudy, but a lot of smoke and haze from the wildfires today. Highs are going to be in the low 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. Hey, Mike, if, when you remember way back when you determined you weren't going to smoke, isn't it interesting when Mother Nature says, oh, yeah, I'll tell you what you're going to do?
Yeah. Today is not the day to do any marathon training, not the day to do any heavy labor, heavy lifting. It's really tough, especially if you find yourself, at any point outside for a prolonged period of time. Anytime this air quality number is above 150, that's bad. And that's poor air quality existing all through central and southern New Jersey, the northeastern corner of the state right now. Not as bad, but it gets worse through the afternoon. That bright shade of purple is on the dense side of the scale. You see there to the top right corner of the screen. So put this into motion, and while briefly later on this afternoon, we see the smoke get a little bit better, it gets thick once more, closer to 6 and 7 o'clock this evening. That shade of purple returning as that wildfire smoke remains thick, and then it moves south across the state into this evening. So not anticipating any improvement to the conditions throughout the day today, because the smoke already starts off thick, temperatures are warm in the 70s, and with that we start off a little bit milder and humid as well. With that humidity running rather high, have to wait until later on tonight for that front to push on through. You can already see it here kind of drawn in the clouds, working its way through, giving us a little bit of a clear sky as we head into this evening. The Futurecast brings back warm weather today, so not only will it be hot, poor air quality, it's humid, not a whole lot of sunshine today or tomorrow because of that smoke. Even though the clouds will be at bay, it's overall a pretty gray scene thanks to that smoke lasting through tomorrow. Now for Saturday, it's the wind that clears the smoke out. Not so much the rainfall, but that breeze out of the ocean and from the south and southeast that helps to clear a lot of the smoke particulates into Sunday morning. And that's why Sunday morning looks a little bit better. We get a clearing by Sunday afternoon, so it's dry for the game in East Rutherford, and then we look dry for the start of next week. So there's our rain and really wind to clear out that smoke, and then it should be a little bit better by Sunday, Ken.
All right. So, by the way, I was just having an instructional conversation with Director Pam
Okay.
about the Pulaski Skyway. And Pam, who is from northern New Jersey her whole life, says, what's the Pulaski Skyway?
Oh, no. Oh, wait until
Yeah.
a Jersey City police officer pulls somebody over on the Pulaski Skyway and all the traffic stops.
Yeah,
Then you
because
will
there's
never
no shoulder.
forget what the Pulaski Skyway is. And when you try and use the Pulaski Skyway to go over
Sure.
the two double drawbridges because they open at random during the rush hour period, yeah, there it
That
is.
is the beginning of the Pulaski Skyway. I was trying to tell Pam, when you see that's by 1 and 9, Truck Route 1 and 9, there's
hmm
the split. And when it goes elevated, that is the beginning of the Pulaski Skyway. You like my
It's the
little show
bridge
and
they
tell?
threw the bodies
I,
over in The Sopranos into the Passaic.
of course, well, you got to throw the body somewhere. Here's a better here's a better shot. It's like a show and tell. It's like we're in the 4th grade. Look, boys and girls, that's the Pulaski Skyway. Pam will get that in her head now, and she'll never forget the Pulaski Skyway. There we are. All right. Thank you, Mike. We'll check back, sir. 70
You
degrees,
bet.
both on the Pulaski Skyway and not, by the way. And it is that is in northern New Jersey. It's 75 as you go down to Trenton. It's 70 in Cape May by the water. Other issues that we have, Pulaski Skyway, by the way, we don't have it on that camera shot, but why we mentioned it, there's a disabled vehicle on the Pulaski northbound at South Kearney in South Kearney. So I know exactly where that is by where you get off. The right lane of the 2 lanes is closed. So you know that at that point in the Pulaski, we have traffic right now. Newark, go over to Newark Liberty International. We have a disabled bus, and that is northbound by Terminal A, level 1, exit ramp in Elizabeth. So that's right by Terminal 1. To get around that, that's going to be a mess. So try to avoid that. Stay to the left if you're going to Terminals 2 or 3 so that you don't get stuck in that Michigas. And then we look at the Hudson River crossings. Right now, the approach to the Lincoln is going to cost you 35, and look at 139 into the Holland Tunnel. This is bumper to bumper. Gosh, today I will make it my mission to climb the pole with a bottle of Windex and clean that lens. That is going to cost you a solid 45 minutes in now via the Holland Tunnel. That's a lot of traffic today. The GWB upper and lower levels also extremely heavy. Upper level on the right of your screen in a second here, and the lower on the left. This is the 8095 approach, and you can see the traffic right there is going to cost you about 40 into Manhattan. It is 8:06, and the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey is bringing business leaders, entrepreneurs, community partners, even some former New York Giants together for a premier day of networking and golf. The AACC-NJ Celebrity Golf Classic takes place at Fiddler's Elbow Country Club in Bedminster, and it's this coming Monday, July 20th. Dr. John E. Harmon Sr., the founder, president, and CEO of the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey, is with us. We say good morning to you, Dr. Harmon. Good to have you here.
Hey, Ken, it's good to see you.
You bet. And I love the name of the golf club, by the way. That's such a great name. You can only find something like that in New Jersey. Once again, let me just read that for everybody. The Fiddler's Elbow Country Club. I want to meet the fiddler who had the bad elbow. That's just another story, though. So tell us about this year's event. This is a big deal. You got New York Giants coming. That'll help be a big draw.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, we have reserved two courses at Fiddler's Elbow, and we anticipate to be north of 200 golfers or so. And we're going to spread them out over two courses to kind of make play a little more expeditious. Our chair of the group that's leading this is Jackie Taylor, and she was able to get 8 former players to participate. Billy Taylor, O.J. Anderson. There's a host of others. I can't name them all, but we're pretty excited. We're going to start registration about 7:30 and tee off about 9 o'clock.
Awesome. Can people get still registered to play? Can we go online and still get tickets?
Yes. They can go to aaccnj.com. But also, Ken,
Awesome. Mm-hmm.
Leading up to that, tomorrow we have a FIFA Fest in Trenton starting at 12 noon and run through the evening. It's going to be opportunities to network with various agencies from the state of New Jersey, from the county of Mercer, from the city of Trenton. There are going to be food trucks. There are going to be activities for kids. And it's all free. It's going to take place at our headquarters at 379 West State Street in Trenton. We have a huge parking area where folks can come and have a great time.
And this is the event, going back to the Monday event now. The event brings together business leaders, entrepreneurs, community partners. You're a master at networking, because these are all people who every one of them would like to meet the other at some point, but no one ever makes the time to do it. And this sort of imposes a day where everybody comes together and can press flesh and meet one another. So how important do you think in being, doing what you do, how important is something like that for the community?
It's significant, Ken. The chamber's been around since 2007. We consider ourselves an advocate, a convener, and a connector. In addition to golf, we're going to have swimming, got spa, lessons for golf and tennis. So for those who don't play golf, there's also other ways to connect to what's occurring. And as to your point, networking is key. If you're in business or you just exist in society, it's not about who you know, but ultimately who knows you and what you're all about, and finding ways in which to leverage each other to make our coexistence better here in New Jersey.
Every time, sir, that when I worked for Channel 7, I used to do a lot of the celebrity golf fundraisers and whatnot. I used to hear the same story from person after person. It's like, I felt like I was dragged to this thing today, and yet I made 3 contacts that I would have never made if I didn't come. People I've always wanted to meet. You meet like the mayors of towns. You meet so many people who you never know when you're going to need to make that phone call to them. And wow, I have their contact info. That's what that's about. Because when would you have the natural ability to meet Anderson from the Giants? I mean, you get to go up and talk, and these guys love being there. They're there because they know they're going to take 150 pictures with people and put their arm around you. They're not there. Believe me, when former football players go to these things, right? They're not aloof. They want to hang out with you. They want to have a beer with you. They want to take a picture with you. And that's the thing. You pay for that access and to be able to meet these people and take pictures and show your buddies, look what I took a picture with. It's a fun day, and you end up, everybody benefits from this.
Ken, you're absolutely right. I mean, with all that's going on in the world and here in New Jersey, take a few hours to just do something for yourself. They come out, whether you hit a straight shot or one that may be a little bit off target, you won't be the only one out there having that experience. So again, good food, music, networking, and a great time. And then someone ultimately is going to win. We're going to have an amazing list of items for the silent auction. And you may take home something that will be memorable as it relates to this event and keep you connected to the African American Chamber.
So tell everybody once again that website if they want to get tickets or to learn more about the organization.
Sure. It's at AACCNJ.com.
And if you Google it, you'll find it right away, because I did. It popped right up. The African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey Celebrity Golf Classic. You got to check it out. And if you don't play golf, you can go play tennis there too. Takes place this coming Monday, July 20th. Fiddler's Elbow Country Club in Bedminster. And go to the breakfast, because you have the CEO of Milano. What's the name of the company again? The CEO is going to be addressing people, right?
Absolutely. And she'll be there speaking and networking, but also we have designed this event, Ken, so there's something for everyone. At the outset, as you're having a great breakfast, you can hear from an amazing speaker sharing information, insight, and perspective as to how you can be more successful in your enterprise. So yeah, there's something for everyone. And also, Ken, I'll have my book on hand, Power Moves. So they can also get an autographed copy of that. So we got something there for everybody.
I want 10 autographed copies of that, Doctor. Awesome.
We got you.
You are awesome, Doctor. Dr. John E. Harmon Sr., founder, president, and CEO of one of the most powerful organizations. If you are in business, you better know this organization. The African, let me get the full title right again. This is the African American Chamber of Commerce of New Jersey. And again, the initials are, because I always forget, I always mix up the letters. So let me look over again. It's the AACCNJ. Got it straight. All right, Doctor, God bless you. Have a great time, and hope you have a very successful gathering on Monday.
Thank you, Ken. Be well, my friend.
You as well, Doctor. Thank you. He is so cool. Every time we have him on, I love having him on. The man knows everybody in New Jersey. It is 8:14. When we come back, professional beach volleyball is coming to Central Park this weekend. We'll talk with some members of the New York Nitros. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, 816, taking calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with a smoky Garden State forecast. Good morning, sir.
It's reducing visibility right now, Ken. So those gray skies are allowing for a horizontal reduced visibility. Looking out into the horizon, down to 2 miles right now in Flemington, 2.6 over in Long Branch, and 4-mile visibility over toward Atlantic City. And this only gets worse as the day goes along. Probably won't even be able to see across the Hudson by later on today. So the clouds picture showing a few clouds off to our north, a little sprinkle there rolling by earlier this morning. But the smoky skies today only creating more haze and humidity there from Matawan out toward Long Branch, and temperatures still managed to make it back into the low 90s. The forecast air quality, again, anytime this is above 100, we get into the unhealthy range. I think we'll generally be unhealthy after we climb into the 150s, which is kind of the benchmark for when you start to smell the smoke. You feel it in in your sinuses. That'll take over by 4 or 5 o'clock today. Very similar to what happened yesterday, but because there's already smoke present, I think it only gets worse into this evening. The humidity is quite low, however, going into tomorrow, drier air with that breeze blowing in from the north. And then for Saturday, look at the wind shift, pushing in more humidity and showers, but also that wind shift will help clear a lot of the air of the smoke by Saturday evening. And then Sunday morning starts off a little humid, but turns drier by the afternoon with some sunshine. I hope the smoke stays away and doesn't make a quick return for Sunday afternoon, because it looks to be the case, I think, going into the midday Sunday into Monday when the next round of high pressure takes over, providing another round of that smoky scenario. So the UV index technically is an 8, which is very high, but that doesn't account for the smoke, so it'll likely be lower in actuality, because even the futurecast does not show the smoke particles, it just shows the clouds. And while the skies will remain clear, there's a lot of particulate matter in the air, and that blocks a lot of the sun even going into tomorrow as highs try and make it back up into the 80s. Here's our Saturday forecast. Wet all around. It's a good soaking rain, but again, it's the wind that will help clear out that smoke. Rain lasts through Saturday evening, and then clears out by Sunday morning to a dry Sunday afternoon. Lots of pleasant weather with a lovely feel, lower humidity, and lots of clear sky heading into Monday if the smoke stays at bay. And that's going to be the key question, because we only get about a 48-hour lead time to see where that smoke will be by the end of the weekend. And then going into next week, I think we start off nice and dry. So beautiful weather on Sunday if the smoke stays at bay. At least the skies will be clear and temperatures climb back into the 80s with lower humidity, Ken.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate you. It is 70 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 75 in Trenton, 69 in Cape May. And we have some traffic to tell you about. Right now, let's go to the Turnpike. We have a disabled tractor trailer, New Jersey Turnpike. The express lane's northbound, north of exit 69, which is I-80 in Teaneck. The left lane is blocked, and you can see the resulting incident here. A lot of bumper-to-bumper traffic. If you look straight back, let's see, you'll see a white truck with a blue front. And that's the truck. That's a disabled tractor trailer that we're talking about. But that's causing the delays that you see right now on the Turnpike. This is right near the intersection with I-80. On Route 47, there's a down pole southbound, South 95, Deptford Township. All lanes are closed. So that's as you go down toward Philadelphia. Newark Liberty has a disabled bus at the airport northbound Terminal A level 1 exit ramp in Elizabeth. Left lane is blocked there. Over to the Pulaski Skyway, we have a disabled vehicle northbound South Kearney and Avenue in South Kearney. Right lane is closed. And your Hudson River crossings, Lincoln is now 35 minutes in. Holland Tunnel's 45. Take a look at the traffic on Route 139. This is in Jersey City. Very, very heavy making your way to the tube. That's, again, a solid 45 minutes. GWB approach, upper and lower levels, 80, 95. And that is also pretty heavy, although not as bad as it was earlier. Now we're down to about 35 to 40. Upper level is on the right. Lower level is on the left. Professional beach volleyball is coming to one of New York City's most iconic locations this weekend, Central Park. The AVP League is transforming Woolman Rink with 300 tons of sand, bringing some of the world's best players to the heart of Manhattan. Joining us this morning are New York Nitro players Molly Shaw and Tony Rodriguez, who will be competing in the AVP League Central Park event this Saturday and Sunday. Good morning. Good to have you both on.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
It's good to have you. And I want to correct myself. Earlier I said, oh, we have two members of the Nitros. You are the New York Nitro, correct? That's the name of the team? All right. I
Yes.
got it. I want to set the record straight. We got it. You work very hard. So I want to make sure we got the right pronunciation, right name. So let's start with Molly. What's it going to be like, Molly, competing in Central Park? You got the New York City skyline as your backdrop, not some ocean in California. What's it going to be like
Yeah.
competing there?
I mean, it's so different, the vibe. I mean, being in New York right now, it's the hustle and bustle, and the vibe in California is much more calm, and I feel like, yeah, just the difference between the New York and the fast pace and California and the slow pace of just the lifestyle will be different. But yeah, we're excited to be here.
I just to let you know, I was out in LA a couple of weeks ago, and we were by Venice Beach, and I'm watching all the volleyball players play, and it was cool. It's just so much bigger a sport there than here because they have more beach and more time to play. But I think it's catching on here too. You're seeing it at beaches up and down the Jersey Shore now. Tony, you're representing New York Nitro too. So how special is it for you to compete in front of a New York crowd?
I just think it's so awesome. This is actually, the first time I'm playing in this event. And so I just think it's really special to not only play in Central Park, but also to represent New York Nitro. And yeah, I just think it'll be super fun to play in front of our home crowd. And hopefully we'll just have a lot of people cheering for us.
And Molly too. There are 300 tons of sand being brought into Woolman Rink. So what do you think of the transformation happening there? It's not quite the ice rink that we have in the wintertime.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be incredible seeing the venue right now, and then what it's going to be tomorrow is it's going to be a huge transformation. And I think, yeah, I'm used to playing on any kind of sand and any kind of depth, but it'll be interesting to see, yeah, what it feels like out there tomorrow.
That's going to be an event unto itself, bringing in 300 tons of sand to the middle of Manhattan. It's just like as if Manhattan isn't crazy enough. And for Tony, the AVP League has introduced a team-based format to professional beach volleyball. So how does that change the way you approach each match?
Well, the AVP used to be all tournaments, and now with the league, we have 8 different teams, 8 different cities, and we're all competing against each other to make to the championship weekend in September and in Chicago. And so with the new format, the sets to 15 are super fun, super fast pace, and I just think it brings a new light to the game, and it gets people excited to watch. And I just think it's really fun. Just in general, like we just all go out there and play our hardest, and yeah.
And you know what? This is no disrespect to soccer, but I think one of the complaints about soccer that Americans have is that it's a lot of running back and forth and not a lot of, action, whereas we like to see action. Volleyball is exactly the opposite. Volleyball probably offers more nonstop action than any other sport. It's just nonstop. By the way, personal aside here, how on earth do you go nonstop in the heat, in the sun, with the amount of energy that you need and the spurts and the hit? How do you do that for hours on end, Molly?
I mean, we train really hard, so it kind of just comes naturally now. But yeah, I mean, there's times where I'm walking in the sand and I'm like, oh my gosh, why am I out of breath? So that kind of brings you back because it is really difficult. But I mean, we train so hard year round, so it should be easy now for us. I would hope.
Man. Well, here's a serious question, and this is for Tony. We'll give this one to Tony. Mike, our meteorologist, is talking about the very serious pollution right now that we have from the wildfires from Canada. I'm sure you smell it right where you are. You probably smell the smokiness in the air. How do you think that's going to impact? You're going to be breathing that in for a while outside. How do you think that's going to impact you?
First off, I just wanted to say we're thinking about all the people in Canada, and yeah, it's just so terrible what's happened. But yeah, I think the air quality is obviously very important because we play outside, and hopefully by Saturday and Sunday it clears up to the point where it's not necessarily affecting us. But I would imagine that it wouldn't be the healthiest thing for us to be breathing in.
Yeah.
But with the rain and everything too, I'm assuming it's going to be gone by then, and hopefully we'll be able to compete. So.
I'm going to give you something which I'm sure is going to be league permitted. Have you ever seen they have this canned, and I don't own the product and I'm not trying to make money on it. They sell oxygen in a can. I'm not kidding. It
Oh
looks
yeah.
like an aerosol. You guys should seriously keep it off to the side and in between plays, take a good deep breath of that to make sure you get a nice, fresh, clear oxygen. I bet you it'd give you a little boost of strength too. And how could they say it's not permitted because it's oxygen? I mean, how is that not
Yeah.
permitted? It's not like
Right.
you're doing something illicit. That's just my little 2 cents, my little application there of what could help. So, give us a website if people want to get tickets or more information.
You can go to www.avp.com /tickets and you can, purchase them there.
That's awesome. And check it out. It's going to be a good time. And by the way, anybody who's going out who might be a little sensitive with breathing and whatnot, just bring a little mask with you and you could be outside. And that way it'll absorb the particulate matter. Wallman Rink Central Park hosting AVP League Professional Beach Volleyball this Saturday and Sunday. Get your tickets online, avp.com. New York Nitro players, Molly Shaw, Tony Rodriguez. Have a great game. And thank you for coming on this morning.
Thanks so much. Bye.
You bet. Have a great one. Oh, very good morning. Thursday, July 16th, 2026. We have a temperature 72 degrees northern New Jersey, 75 in Trenton at 8:30. I'm Ken Rosato. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Partly cloudy today. Areas of smoke and haze from wildfires. Highs in the low 90s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the full Garden State forecast. And Mike, it's when we say partly cloudy, it's going to look kind of like full overcast, right? With the smoke. And you look up and
It
you're
will.
like, wait a minute, what does he mean partly cloudy? I guess from space it
Yeah.
looks partly cloudy, but from the ground it looks cloudy.
Yeah, the visible imagery from space looked really cool yesterday, checking it out to
Mhm.
see where that smoke is coming from. And you could see clearly straight across the Northeast, now sinking south across New Jersey this morning, with a lot of that smoke working its way down toward the coast in through today. So similar to yesterday, we finished the day off very smoky. The difference today is we start the day smoky, whereas yesterday had a lot of blue sky. So there will be more particulate matter throughout the afternoon, allowing for more of a haze to develop, making it quite uncomfortable, not only to look at, but to breathe in. you'll be feeling that smoke by the end of the day. In terms of the pollen counts, they're still at the moderate level. Grasses and weeds noticeably higher thanks to all of the dry weather that's been around. And with today's record of 101, we're closing in on that 100-degree mark yet again with our warm weather throughout the end of the day. So we had a few light sprinkles overnight into this morning across northern New Jersey. Those are giving way to more cloudy and overcast skies today, again with that smoke particulate matter. And with the water temperatures warming up nicely into the upper 70s, this is the time of year where it feels great to head out toward the beach. But again, not going to get a whole lot of sunshine today. Even for Saturday, the day with pretty much wet weather all day long, it's looking like a washout, but it's the wind that should help us clear out the smoke. And then by Sunday, looks much better and drier as the forecast moves forward, bringing us in drier weather by the end of the weekend. So here's another round of high pressure for tomorrow, which tends to keep the smoke closer to the ground. So I don't think we'll see an improvement until the wind shifts on Saturday. And while that brings us some rain, it'll also bring us some clearer air from the south, driving in some more pleasant weather for Sunday as well with the dry air. And then Monday brings back another round of clear sky with the high pressure, which, if the wildfires are still burning, may in fact bring back some more smoke into early next week. So time will tell on that. Again, the 48-hour forecast is the kind of the limit of where the smoke can be seen in the forecast map. But by Saturday, I think the winds will be in our favor, pushing back some of that smoky particulate matter. And then by Monday and Tuesday of next week, cooler weather in our offing as we only climb into the upper 70s and low 80s. So looking drier and clearer, hopefully, into next week.
All right. Thank you so much, Mike. Yeah, hopefully is the case. We'll keep our fingers crossed. 69 degrees right now, northern New Jersey, 75 degrees in Trenton. It is 70 degrees in Cape May and 72 degrees in Vineland. Traffic-wise, let's go to the Garden State Parkway, shall we? This is just volume right here in this shot. This is in the vicinity of mile marker 149.2. So this is by exit 148. Making their way northbound. And you can see just all it is volume right now. It's not a big deal. We do have some other issues, again, with congestion on the Garden State. And one of them, let's see, actually three more issues. 143A, 130BA, and 159. Those are the three exit points in the Garden State Parkway where they are reporting. Again, just congestion means they're down to 30 miles an hour or less, but there's no accident and they are moving. That's the good news there. We have an issue on the Pulaski Skyway, still no camera shot, though. It's disabled on the Pulaski northbound by South Kearney Ave and South Kearney. Right lane is closed. Down pole on Route 47 southbound south of 295 in Deptford Township. All lanes are closed there. Hudson River crossings right now, the Lincoln Tunnel is 35 to 40 minutes in. Holland Tunnel is 30 to 35. You can see there's a little motion now that we did not have before. Still very heavy, though. And the GWB upper and lower levels, it's also just improving a little tiny bit. Now we're down to about 40 minutes, 35 to 40. Before we were at 45 solid. Time is 8:34. New Jersey continues to face a major shortage of affordable housing, with the state estimated to be about 230,000 affordable homes short of what residents need. The new state budget does include more funding for housing production than last year, but advocates say the investment still falls far short of addressing the scale of the problem. Stacey Berger is the president and CEO of the Housing and Community Development Network of New Jersey. We say good morning to you, Stacey.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me, Ken.
You bet. It's good to have you on. You look at the state budget, and the state budget's already double what it was 8 years ago. It's enormous. But what stands out to you when it comes to housing and community development? Because as much as they're putting in, it's almost like a drop in the bucket.
Well, the amount of money that the state funds affordable housing at is very low. We have one of the smallest budgets around the country for affordable housing, and in particular, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is used primarily by nonprofit and small developers to do infill home construction and rehabilitation and rental construction as well, has shrunk tremendously over the last 2 years. In his final year, Governor Murphy did not put any money in that fund. We were able to get some money back last year later after the budget had been passed. This year, the Governor Sherrill, put about $36 million in directly for production. There's other resources in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund that are used for other purposes. But when we have such a huge deficit around the state, and we have a very important mandate from the state that every community does its fair share, that every town and municipality makes a good faith effort to provide reasonable opportunities to develop affordable homes, nonprofit small developers absolutely need the state to step up. And unfortunately, $36 million is not going to get us out of the hole that we are in. As you mentioned, about 230,000 units short, homes short for our residents who earn low and moderate incomes. So we need to make sure that we are investing in those kinds of programs, in particular in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
Stacey, you know what? I live part-time now in Florida. I'm from here, but I live part-time in Florida. They don't have this problem in Florida. They don't have a shortage of affordable housing. Not in. Excuse me, because I live there, and I'm very good friends with 5 senators there in the state. There is nowhere near the comparison per capita that we have, even though they're growing at a rate that is 9 times what New Jersey's. Actually, New Jersey contracted. So the point I'm trying to make is what they've done is spread it out more, and I think you have more. The towns in New Jersey are much more cliquey. Having lived here now for 25 years, I find a lot of people say, we're not going to put low-income housing here, and they fight and resist it all the way. Whereas you have developments in Florida where you have whole complexes that are way more affordable that people can go to. Is it New Jersey's residents? Is it the regulations here? What is it that makes this particularly endemic to this state?
Well, we did have a tremendous amount of exclusionary zoning about 50 years ago, which is what led to the series of legislative and legal decisions that we collectively call Mount Laurel principles. So that stops municipalities from preventing people from moving in. And so that's a really important piece of the calculus. But we do need to actually build those homes. Florida does not provide really a lot of investment, as far as I can tell. I have
they provide, if I may step in for Stacey, but what they do is they change the regulation isn't the same. In New Jersey, it is so difficult and expensive for a developer to come in and create lower income housing that it's not worth their while. In Florida, they give incentives. They may not give money, but they give incentives. So if you're a developer and you're going to build a complex with 300 units that are expensive, they'll give you incentive to now, okay, we're not going to overregulate you. You could build this over here. Here, it's like I've spoken to one developer who told me they lose so much money that it's like not worth it even developing in New Jersey. And I didn't mean to step on you, Stacey. All I'm trying to say is I agree with you. We need you. You know, I tell people who don't want low-income housing, I'm saying your son and daughter are going to have to they can't afford a $2 million home. They need affordable housing. New Jersey desperately.
Everybody needs an affordable place to call home. There are 50 states in the United States, and every state does their housing production slightly differently. Here in New Jersey, I would guess that you might have been speaking to a for-profit developer when you were talking about building 300 units. Most of our members are nonprofit smaller developers, and they're not in it to make a huge return for their shareholders. They're in this process and in this business to make sure that people have a safe, affordable place to live. And so if the state is going to invest in making sure that we have enough homes for people who need them and want to live here, then we need to make sure that we're getting the biggest bang for our buck. And perhaps, focusing on for-profit developers, primarily is not going to get us there. We have a huge hole in terms of the number of homes that we need to build. And the first rule of being in a hole is to stop digging. So we really do need the state to step in, and we can certainly talk about incentives. I know the governor has a permitting dashboard that she's launched that will allow developers to move more quickly. As far as I can tell, there aren't any nonprofits in that pilot project, but we sure hope that once that's rolled out, that they will be included, or potentially in a second round. There's a lot of things that we can do to make sure that people have a safe, affordable place to call home. One of them is underway. The state is trying to streamline the way that people can search for affordable homes. Right now, it is very frustrating and very difficult to find a rental apartment in New Jersey. We are one of the most expensive places to rent. We have a housing wage that is over $30 an hour, which means that people earning minimum wage need to work 120 hours a week, 52 weeks of the year, no vacation, no time off. So basically working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to be able to afford to rent a place. So we need to address the lack of rent stabilization and rent control in New Jersey. And we need to make sure that we are building homes that people can afford.
I got to step in on you. Every place there's rent stabilization, though, Stacy, you know what happens. When there's rent stabilization, that doesn't give incentive for people to move along. It actually provides less availability for housing. I'm not for.
We're going to agree to disagree there. We probably don't have enough time.
I can show you, Stacy. I've debated the biggest people in DC on this one. I have a lot of stats. I love you very much, and I agree with you on 90% of what you're saying. What I'm saying is the answer is not rent control. The answer is give incentive to build more so that there's more available housing. That's the thing. The fact is we need hundreds of thousands more units that are not $2 million a piece or $10,000 a month. That's what we need in this state.
Right. It's like you go to the supermarket. Yeah, it's like you go to the supermarket and all that's available to buy is filet mignon and caviar, and people really do need, right? People need hamburger helper and tuna fish. Like, we need a variety of choices, just one kind of house and one kind of place to live. But if we're looking at solutions, we really do want to talk about ways to keep rent lower, because it is extremely expensive. And we know that landlords, corporate landlords in particular, have been buying up, large swaths of our neighborhoods here, which is why the 21st Century Road to Housing Act that just passed last week without the president's signature means that we're going to be able to put start to clamp down on those large equity firms that are purchasing our homes and driving up the rent purely for profit. And so that's what we're
right. That is this, to me, that is one of the scariest things, because once corporate comes in and takes over everything, anybody, even if you want to buy that $1 million home and you could afford it, you're going to be SOL. And that's where it's headed right now. And that's terrifying.
It's terrifying. And it's terrifying that it's happening in our neighborhoods, because a lot of those homes are available and rather affordable to people if they could get to them. But because they're no longer on the market, we now have a squeeze in terms of what's actually available to buy and rent. And some of those, equity firms, hedge fund firms are just sitting on those properties waiting to sell them when they think the market is right, when we know that people need a safe, affordable place to live right now. Yes, I saw the weather report while I was waiting, and the Canadian wildfires are very, very dangerous for people who are unhoused. This is a very, this is a code red situation. Everybody is telling folks to stay inside and, turn their air conditioning on. That's fantastic if you have an inside and you have air conditioning and you can afford your utility bill. So there's a lot of ways that health and housing are connected. And if we're not making sure that everybody has a safe place to live, we aren't really taking care of each other.
Stacey Berger, we agree with you on way more than a lot of people would think we do. We want people housed. Everybody deserves a respectful and respectable place and dignity and a place they can afford, because life's too tough already. And that shouldn't be something that they have to worry about every day of their lives. Stacey Berger, President and CEO of the Housing and Community Development Network of New Jersey. Please come back. We love what you're doing.
I will.
And
I'd love to.
You're a great person, and I appreciate what you do. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Thank you, Ken. I appreciate you having me. I'll definitely come back.
Please. Thank you. And let's hope we don't have any more of this wildfire smoke. She's right. Can you imagine, God forbid, the people who don't have a place to live and they're having to inhale this all day? Not good. All right. It is 8:44. We're coming back in 2 minutes. We're going to be talking about, now that we have a departure of Spirit Airlines, they're in the spirits, what's happening to ticket prices? Yeah, just what we thought, starting to rise. We'll talk with a travel expert from Slick Trip with advice on how to navigate the new travel landscape. We're coming right back. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato at 8:47. We'll take calls at 888-658-0234. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta. Got a lot of folks dealing with the wildfires and the smoke out there. Mike, I'm befuddled by how many people, I guess they don't pay attention to the news and have said, what's going on? Why is it so smoky out? This is what happens when people just rely on TikTok. No offense, TikTok.
Well,
We're
now
screaming at
your
people.
phone on the home screen will give you the air quality alert. At least it should. So that's something helpful to kind of make you aware that this is not normal, and you should probably alter your plans if you plan to be outside for an extended period of time. Want to take a quick look at the rain situation, as we've obviously had a lot of water in the last 30 days. So that's improved the short-term drought situation in terms of a rainfall deficit. However, the longer-term drought still exists down in South Jersey, and there's a severe drought extending in the shade of orange back through Middlesex and portions of Somerset and Hunterdon counties. But beyond that, most of the northern part of the state just abnormally dry. So that's better than we were 30 days ago. To the smoky scenario, it's going to be another smoke-filled afternoon with those skies looking gray, the air quality poor, and temperatures holding in the low 90s. Longer term has a little bit more rain, not necessarily where it's needed, but we get that short-term rain on Saturday, which with the wind direction switching, that should help clear out the air. Also get a break from the AC because the second half of the month forecast to be slightly cooler than average. The 7-day forecast has cooler weather settling in for tomorrow, still smoky. Have to wait for those winds to switch in on Saturday, which brings in some rain. It's pretty much a washout Saturday, but dries out by Sunday with more clear sky coming in for Sunday and Monday. The trouble is, Sunday and Monday may have another round of smoke if those wildfires are still burning strong, because the wind direction is pretty much the same scenario as yesterday and today. Tuesday and Wednesday into next week, cooler with temperatures only in the mid-80s, and also the shore points slightly cooler still with a little bit of rain setting up toward the middle of next week. So keeping an eye on the weekend, as the clear sky on Sunday may look good, but the forecast for smoke, that's only goes out 48 hours, so we won't really know until later tomorrow how the second half of the weekend will fare.
We have to see if the Argentinians or the Spaniards are more used to smoke. Something tells me the Spaniards will be more used to smoke because in Europe, they all smoke. South America, not as much. You go to Europe, right? You go to Italy. Here in the US, you're not used to seeing people smoking cigarettes because it's been like a decade or more. You go to Italy, you go to Spain. I was in Portugal. Everywhere you go, they're smoking. It's like the 1970s in the US all over again. It's crazy.
Everywhere. Yep. I would call it
Yeah.
blue hour because after lunchtime, around 2 p.m., people walk through the streets. It's just clouds of smoke everywhere. And where I was in Milan, you have that, the Po Valley kind of concentrates all those pollutants close to the ground, so it just lingers in the air. Yeah, it's basically Europe right now. That's the forecast.
Although
Europe.
Manhattan has marijuana everywhere you go now, so then there's that. So you can't
true.
win. You can't. Smells like armpit stink and skunk everywhere you go in Manhattan. I don't get it how people don't. Are they just getting used to it, or no? Not so good.
We must be.
All right.
We must be.
Awful. All right, Mike. Well, enjoy your weekend, sir. Enjoy
You
it,
too.
and we'll watch the match on Sunday. Have a good one. It is 8:51 right now. Temperature 71 degrees in northern New Jersey, 75 in Trenton. Traffic-wise, we have issues on the Garden State Parkway up and down between exits 143A and 150. You can see this is right in the middle. This is like by 148, 149 in that vicinity, just around the big turn. Before you make your way to the tolls, just a little bit of volume there, but it is moving. It's going about 30 miles an hour. Not horrible, just a lot of volume we're talking about today. The other issue we have to talk about, which we do not have a camera shot for, the cameras are out there, and there is a down pole on Route 47 southbound, south of the exit for 295 in Deptford Township, and that's forcing the closure of all the lanes. Hudson River Crossing is very heavy right now. Lincoln Tunnel is about 40 minutes in. Holland Tunnel is 45. In fact, this is the 139 approach from the turnpike. Look at this mess. Been this way most of the morning. Just an absolute nightmare. Bumper to bumper traffic. GWB upper and lower levels, just a tiny bit of an improvement. It was at 45 to 50 earlier. Now it's at about 35 to 40. You can see the upper level on the right, lower level on the left. It is 8:52, and with Spirit Airlines ceasing operations in the spring, travelers are wondering what less competition could mean for airfare prices, especially in the busy travel season. From rising ticket prices and hidden fees to last-minute booking myths and those rare so-called error fares, there's a lot to consider before booking your next trip. Joining us right now, John Muller, travel expert and chief marketing officer at Slick Trip, to help us navigate the changing travel landscape and hopefully save some money along the way. John, good morning. Good to have you on.
Good morning, Ken.
Well, I knew where I am. I'm in northern New Jersey and I have a home in Fort Lauderdale. So Spirit, I'm the guy who gets on the plane with no luggage, sits down in the middle seat quite happily, and goes to Florida and back. For me, Spirit was a dream. Everyone's like, how could you like that? It was just what I needed. Simple, no frills, did what it was supposed to do. And I said to everybody, the minute they go out of business, you wait, the other airlines they'll play nice for about a month, and then the airfares are going to go up. Forget it. I looked ahead. There's nothing to buy.
Well, you're a better man than I am, because I hate the middle seat, and I always bring luggage, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, you're completely right. It took about a month after Spirit went under for the other airlines to stop playing nice and raise fares, raise fees, and pretty much do everything they've done over the past couple of years to make the traveler a little bit less comfortable. But at the end of the day, that's why we're here, and our platform does help you save on the ever fluctuating pricing in the airline and hotel market right now.
Well, I know there are other low-cost carriers out there. I mean, to call JetBlue low cost is not, they're not low cost, right? They're not. Back in 2010,
It started out that way. Right.
Not now. They're pretty much up there with everybody else's price. But you still have like a Frontier. Frontier still has deals, but you tight seats on Frontier. But
I recently flew Frontier, and I have to tell you, it was a fairly pleasant experience. I did fly with luggage, so it did cost a little bit more than what I was used to, or what the original fare price was. But it wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad at all. So I think that the other airlines, at least the low-cost airlines, are stepping up and taking some of the place that's Spirit, the void that Spirit left.
And we hear about vacation inflation. So why do travel costs become so expensive? Talk about what that is.
So vacation inflation essentially is exactly what it is. It's the rising cost of vacations over the past couple of years. Again, you had mentioned it before in your intro. Oil price fluctuations really have a major impact on flight prices, which is one of the benefits of using a price alert platform like SlickTrip, where you can track those prices because they are fluctuating like stocks. Down 10%, up 20%, down 50%, up 40%. You really can't keep track depending on the day, the hour, the month that you're traveling. So vacation inflation is real. The main culprit, at least at this point right now, aside from the Spirit airline bankruptcy, is primarily oil pricing. Oil pricing fluctuates right now so rapidly, and airlines used to be able to handle that and keep it steady. But nowadays it fluctuates so much that it's very difficult for them to keep pace of this. And prices for tickets, the consumer just gets hit at the end, and prices for tickets fluctuate.
John, what are some of the most common mistakes that people make when they are trying to save money on spring or summer flights?
So the common mistake that we always say is booking too close to the time that you're traveling. So at SlickTrip, we recommend setting alerts for your flights 2 to 3 and sometimes 4 months in advance, so you can actually get a feel for what your prices, your ticket price is going to look like. We also do hotel price alerts as well. They don't fluctuate as much. However, with regards to flights, we really recommend, and one of the traps that people fall into is they wait to book until the last minute, and the algorithm picks you up and starts quoting you very high pricing. So it's book early or alert early. So that's what we say. You set your alert, you track your flights early, and you're inevitably going to at least save yourself a couple percentages on your flight.
Now, for those who don't know, it's free of charge. Google Flights, it'll track your flights, right? It'll give you alerts when you have a quick drop in price. I use it all the time. Love it. And there's plenty of last minute. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say SlickTrip also is a free app, and it's a free flight. We do real time price alerts. So essentially, as soon as your price drops, like you were mentioning, airfares, as soon as the price drops, we alert you within a couple of seconds of that flight dropping, and you can action that right away and take advantage of extreme flight drops, which you were talking about, airfares, which is one of the big issues. And now with AI, we're seeing a lot more airfares happen over pretty much all airlines. We've recently seen a 40% drop on a couple of tickets in the past week. I'm not going to mention the airline, but people are taking advantage of the real-time alert process, which allows you to take advantage of those errors that happen that you wouldn't normally see because you're only refreshing once a day, maybe once a week.
I love it. The website is slicktrip.com, SLICKTRIP.com. John Muller, travel expert, chief marketing officer. You got to come on a regular basis. We love this. We appreciate you coming on today. You're
Thank you very much, and have a
site.
great day.
You too, John. I looked at the site yesterday. It's fantastic. Have a good one,
Right.
and happy rest of summer to you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And that does it for On New Jersey Mornings for your Thursday. Enjoy the day. Enjoy your weekend. We are on tape tomorrow. As they say, it's not really tape. It's digital. We still say the word tape like tape exists. But we'll catch you again on Monday Live. And enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the big match on Sunday. And thanks for watching On New Jersey Mornings.